Good day, citizens, landowners, and stakeholders. My name is Drew Noxon, Senior Planner with the Chesterfield County Department of Planning. I am happy to present to you the Rockwood Special Focus Area. The Special Focus Area, or SFA for short, is a long-range plan providing detailed development guidance to areas undergoing or having a high potential for change. This is the county's first special focus area. The plan guides future growth, land development, and redevelopment decisions, programs, ordinances, and policies. It also provides strategies for the redevelopment of key properties through detailed design guidelines and placemaking, and is a component of the countywide comprehensive plan, replacing portions of the current Northern Courthouse Road Community Plan and the Route 360 Corridor Plan. The plan area is bounded by Falling Creek to the north, Gregory's Pond, as well as the Amberley and Falling Creek Farms subdivisions to the east, Horner's Run to the south, and Price Club Boulevard and the Genito Woods subdivision to the west. A core area consisting of 4 quadrants surrounding the intersection of Hall Street and Courthouse Road is designated as the main focal point for redevelopment efforts within Rockwood. I will also point out that all of the areas south of Hall Street are within the Dale Magisterial District, and then all of the areas to the north of Hall Street are within the Clover Hill Magisterial District. In 2017, Rockwood was recognized by the Planning Department as a place with great potential. It has a central location at a major crossroads in the county, that being Route 360 and Courthouse Road. Its proximity to Powhite Parkway and to other major activity centers such as Chesterfield Town Center, the county airport, and the county government complex. Rockwood Park, which is the county's largest and most visited park, is a major attraction for the area. Rockwood was once a major shopping destination. However, today we are witnessing changes in the market which pose challenges to the typical retail uses that we're used to seeing, which is opening up opportunities for the redevelopment of many of our older shopping centers. Here is a quick rundown of existing conditions in Rockwood. Rockwood contains approximately 673 acres of land area. Within those 673 acres, there are 105 individually owned parcels. The area is predominantly developed for commercial retail uses. The Rockwood Square, Rockwood Plaza, and Oxbridge Square shopping centers comprise nearly half of the business square footage and activity in this area. There are minimal office, industrial, and employment uses. There is also minimal residential development. Out of the 673-acre area, there are only 163 dwelling units. There's a large amount of vacant, undeveloped, or underutilized land within the plan area. Rockwood Park occupies nearly 1/4 of the area's acreage, and there are many environmentally sensitive lands along the waterways, such as Falling Creek, Gregory's Pond, and Horner's Run. The map here shows the acreages and square footages within the core area, or 4 quadrants of Rockwood. At this time, there are multiple commercial vacancies that are found in the core area. In the northeast quadrant, current vacancies are nearly 16,000 square feet, or 40.4%. These are all within the Rockwood Plaza Shopping Center. Now let's go to the southeast quadrant. Current vacancies here are around 16,000 square feet, or 14%. These are all within the Oxbridge Square Shopping Center. In the southwest quadrant, current vacancies are approximately 26,000 square feet, or 44.3%. These are all within the Rockwood Square Shopping Center. And then in the northwest quadrant, there's only one current vacancy in this area of approximately 2,400 square feet, and this is the former MAPCO gas station along Hall Street Road. Total vacant retail space in the 3 main shopping centers is approximately 58,000 square feet, about 27% of the square footage in the 3 centers combined. This is about 13.5% of the total commercial square footage in the plan area. What this is telling us is that the smaller commercial outparcels directly fronting Route 360 and somewhat along Courthouse Road are relatively healthy. However, the larger shopping centers on the interiors of these sites are having some challenges and has called us to action. Now I'll talk a little bit about opportunities in the Rockwood area. Rockwood has a great locational advantage, as we talked about before, being at the junction of Hall Street and Courthouse Road. This is one of the county's most highly traveled intersections, with more than 75,000 vehicles passing through on a daily rate. There's easy access to other residential, shopping, entertainment, recreational, and employment areas in Chesterfield. It also has close proximity to Powhite Parkway, so you can get into downtown Richmond within 15 minutes or less. We also have Rockwood Park, which really serves as a focal point for the area and has a larger regional draw. There are also many established communities adjacent to the plan area, such as Amberley, Falling Creek Farms, and Mayfair Estates. These communities remain stable and relatively affordable as the overall residential market goes. There is abundant land for new development and redevelopment within Rockwood. This is predominantly located in the northwestern, eastern, and southeastern sectors of the plan area. There's also considerable underutilized land, which could be redeveloped with higher density uses. There are quite a few large acreage parcels that contain single-family dwellings that could be further developed. There are also shopping centers in the area, such as Rockwood Square or Oxbridge Plaza, which have excess parking areas that may accommodate additional development. The area also has an attractive market for new development. Market analysis conducted by the Department of Community Enhancement in 2019 showed demand for residential development of various types and densities, including single-family, townhomes, and multifamily dwellings. There is also some demand shown in this study for particular retail uses. There are also multiple waterways in the area, such as Falling Creek, Gregory's Pond, and Horner's Run. These areas currently serve as buffers between the existing residential communities and the commercial uses around the core area. These water features could provide future recreational and educational opportunities. Let's talk a little bit about land uses. There are numerous individual landowners, as we talked about earlier. And what this does is it prevents the aggregation of land into larger, more developable sites. Also, we said before, the predominant uses in Rockwood are commercial and retail. There are few employment uses in Rockwood, and there's a low residential density. And what that means is the area is lacking the critical mass of residential density to support existing as well as future business uses. There are also few entertainment uses or open spaces outside of Rockwood Park. The area really lacks a nice Main Street or town square style environment. Some additional challenges are that the area is completely dominated by automobile-oriented uses and design. Roads in the area are wide and contain high traffic volumes. There is poor access management with many individual business entrances along the roadways, which slow down traffic. There are also parking areas and drive-through uses, which really dominate the views from the streets. There are few pedestrian or bicycle connections or sidewalks in the area. As you can see in the photos on this slide, the area lacks streetscaping design or any landscaping. The area also lacks an overall sense of place or something that would attract you to the area and make you want to spend a few hours of your day and then come back another time. The area also has many encumbered lands. They're resource protection areas or RPAs that provide separation between existing residential communities in the plan area. While buffers are useful between certain land uses, the increase in distance between neighborhoods and other uses really deters walkability and forces you to get into your car and drive everywhere, even for the most basic of trips. There are also major utility lines and easements which cut through the plan area. Most of you recognize the large power lines, transmission lines, which cross over Courthouse Road at the bridge over Falling Creek, as well as in the east portion of the area, along Hull Street Road near the entrance to Rockwood Park. There is also an existing Chesterfield County water pump station. This facility is crucial to water provision for many of our area citizens. The county is committed to the security and buffering and screening of this facility, especially as new development encroaches upon it. Some additional encumbrances in the area are the Manchester Volunteer Rescue Squad. This also houses a county fire and EMS company number 24. This is one of the busiest stations in the county. Therefore, there are no long-term plans to relocate or change this facility. It's going to be here for the long term. There's also the Gregory Cemetery, which contains gravestones dated back as early as 1877. All these different encumbrances provide hurdles to better land development, redevelopment. Now let's get into more of the details of the county's proposed plan. The plan provides a healthy balance of residential, commercial, retail, office, and entertainment uses that are mutually supportive of each other. It also promotes uses that are not currently available in the area, as well as additional housing choices. The plan seeks to encourage a more walkable development pattern with higher densities centered around the intersection of 360 and Courthouse Road. Plan also ensures protections such as transitions and compatibility between higher density uses and existing neighborhoods outside of the plan area. And finally, I'll stress to you that the plan is only a guide for future land use decisions. It is not ordinance or law. Property owners would still have to come in and apply for zoning changes in order to develop their land within the plan area. That means they would have to go through the public process and seek approval from the Planning Commission and the Board of Supervisors before development could take place. The plan has 3 land use plan notes, which provide more specific details for targeted areas in the plan area. The Northwest area has potential for significant residential development in the future. Land use plan note 25 recommends a mix of residential types such as single family, small lot single family, townhomes, duplexes, and similar dwelling styles, which provide more variety of housing options to support existing and future non-residential uses in the area. Multifamily or apartment uses would not be supported in this area. Within the northwestern area of the plan, we also have neighborhood nodes that may be established at the intersections where significant residential development is planned, or in the areas where planned employment uses would border these larger residential developments. Neighborhood nodes should include limited retail or office uses fronting a main street or green space, and should be designed to blend in with nearby residential development. The goal here is to develop small centers where residents or employees can walk just to get a cup of coffee or access other convenient service uses. For land use note 27, at the gateway into the Rockwood plan area where Courthouse Road crosses Falling Creek, and at the intersection of a planned future extension of Suncrest Drive to Courthouse Road, limited office uses may be appropriate here. The land use plan also suggests that higher densities and heights should be focused around the intersection of 360 and Courthouse Road. Mixed use projects would be suggested along 360 and at the main intersection of 360 and Courthouse Road. The plan would further encourage limited commercial and mixed uses on the interiors of larger projects. Also, you'll notice in this intensity plan on the screen that as distance from the intersection of 360 and Hall Street and Courthouse Road increases, the densities and building heights decrease in order to promote more compatibility with existing single-family development outside of the special focus area boundaries. We should also consider flexibility for projects that abut Corners Run or Rockwood Park, or the existing non-residential development, especially to the areas to the west of Price Club Boulevard. as these areas provide for additional buffering. Regarding transportation, the plan recommends the creation of an interconnected grid system of streets utilizing many of the existing traffic signals along Hall Street Courthouse Road. Also recommends creating parallel networks to better distribute traffic, as well as a new access point for Rockwood Park, which would connect to the existing traffic signal at Hall Street and Oxbridge Road to allow for full access in and out in all directions to Rockwood Park. Now let's talk about bikeways and trails. The map on the screen shows a proposed bikeways and trails system for Rockwood. This entails the creation of bypass routes around the main intersection of Hall Street Courthouse Road, as that intersection is busy and would be dangerous to pedestrians and cyclists. We also show additional access points to Rockwood Park to better connect the surrounding communities and the core area of Rockwood to Rockwood Park. The plan also proposes a trail system parallel to Horner's Run, where we have some really beautiful natural areas today. This trail system would really be a great asset for the area and better connect communities. Now I'll get into some of the plan's design recommendations, beginning with streetscape standards. The screen shows a conceptual view looking down Hall Street to the east, with future mixed-use buildings, as well as streetscaping, which would include wider sidewalks buffered from the travel lanes, street lamps and street trees, and other landscaping alongside. These are some real-world examples of how our wider thoroughfares, such as Hall Street Courthouse Road, could look in the future as redevelopment takes place, with buildings situated closer to the roads, nice buffered sidewalks from the travel lanes, your pedestrian scale street lighting, street trees, and landscaping. Streetscaping design should create a safe and enjoyable pedestrian environment. The image on the screen here shows features which should be provided for new interior streets. So we talked about 360 and Hall Street before. These standards are more for those interior streets internal to new development. These features that should be designed and included in interior streetscapes include on-street parking, street trees and landscaping, street furniture such as benches, pedestrian-style street lamps, use of pavers and multiple textures and designs for walkways and streets, and crosswalks at intersections, as well as in the center of longer blocks to cut down the distances pedestrians have to walk to connect between uses or parking areas and uses. Here's some examples of interior streets. You see in the top right, this is a lower density residential street. This is actually in the Amberley community, just to the east of the core area. You see the buffered sidewalk with the green planting strip and street trees, pedestrian style lights, and on-street parking areas. In areas with higher density and intensity of uses, you would see the wider sidewalks, maybe some street furniture, and then mixed-use commercial areas. You start to see outdoor cafes and that mid-block crossing and other items. Design guidelines should apply to all new development projects. The plan is recommending reductions in building setbacks, high-quality exteriors and materials, variation in materials, colors, textures, and roofline, and special treatments for buildings located at major corners so that they stand out by providing a focal point, whether that is a tower feature or a nice pedestrian plaza area or green space. Parking areas should be located behind buildings so that the focus here is on buildings and architecture and pedestrian areas and open spaces, as opposed to parking lots. Should also break up lengthy blocks and buildings with pedestrian passages. This is a real world example of a pedestrian passage which will take you from the main street where all the commercial retail uses are back to parking areas and other businesses. Buildings should provide for flexible first floor spaces, especially in mixed use areas. These first floor flexible spaces should be constructed and designed by building code to better adapt the changes in the market and accommodate different uses, whether those are residential, commercial, or office or entertainment. Finally, we should provide more opportunities for outdoor dining. So areas on wider sidewalks or an open space should be designed to accommodate those outdoor dining areas. The plan also suggests the creation of a main street or town square type concept. This is your central pedestrian-oriented street or public open space surrounded by retail uses. Creates a really nice environment where you can spend multiple hours of your day and visit many businesses and entertainment uses. The plan recommends public open spaces, which can be easily programmed for seasonal events. If you see in the top left corner, this is a programmable open space that has movable chairs and children's games and other features. Also, should have indoor and outdoor spaces, such as a pavilion for farmers market or special events, as you see in the right side, or outdoor stages where concerts, movies, and other live entertainment can take place. The plan further promotes additional opportunities for open space and pedestrian infrastructures as new development takes place. One such opportunity in Rockwood is the improvement of an existing stream in the northwest quadrant. This stream could be restored to a more natural state, or it could be converted into a landscape pedestrian corridor in a more urban context, as you see here on the screen. Imagine outdoor cafes and open spaces lining this corridor, and residential buildings with balconies alongside, providing great views for tenants or owners. This would really add value to new development in the area and provide something unique that we don't have. The plan also recommends additional landscaping standards, especially within open spaces and pedestrian corridors. Between parking areas and streets, as you see here, a nice masonry wall with columns and landscaping and street trees and lighting that really softens views from the street or pedestrian areas into those larger parking areas. And then also within streets and medians. With new development or redevelopment, stormwater systems must also be considered. Where ponds are provided, they should be designed as amenities and can even provide great focal points for developments. The real world example you see here in the top right is actually from the Oyster Point at City Center in the city of Newport News, Virginia. And they used a stormwater pond as a central focal point with park areas and walkways and a stage and fountains. It's a really great environment to walk out of your residence or your office and spend your lunch break or just walk around the circle. Also, we should consider low impact development designs, such as bioretention swales. These should be considered within developments and even along streets. Now let's talk about promoting Rockwood as a place. We can do that by creating a brand or something that tells you that Rockwood is an important place within Chesterfield County. You can see a few examples in the photos on the screen. Also, using gateway signage at our entrances to the community along Hall Street and Courthouse Roads. Signage should say something like, "Welcome to wonderful Rockwood, crossroads of Chesterfield County," or something of that sort. Finally, the use of wayfinding signage, which helps direct drivers and pedestrians to destinations within larger developments. This is a real-world example which directs you to shopping and county courts complexes and other amenities in the area. We'll conclude this presentation with a few final recommendations. This plan recommends strategies for an increased role by the county to encourage and assist with redevelopment of the 4 quadrants or core area. These include county-initiated rezoning requests, special design district or zoning overlay, which means the creation of future ordinance standards which require development that would be consistent with this plan. Also looking at incentives, which lower the cost, especially for those shopping center properties where buildings must be demolished first before new development can take place. And also an aggregation strategy for assembling parcels into larger, more developable tracts. The plan also contains some funding needs, such as a new north-south collector road, which provides access to Rockwood Park from that intersection of Oxbridge Road and Hall Street Road. This would allow direct access in and out in all directions to Rockwood Park, as well as set up that area for future redevelopment opportunities. We also should consider demolition assistance for shopping centers. As we talked about before, there is a cost associated with demolishing shopping centers that is typically higher than developing in greenfields or lands which are not currently developed. We talked about gateway signage, some signage along Route 360 or Courthouse Road at the entrance to the Rockwood community to show you that you are here in wonderful Rockwood, a great place in the county of Chesterfield. Also, a segment of Horner's Run Trail along the Horner's Run stream in the southeast quadrant. This is in an area that is not currently controlled by either of the shopping center owners. Therefore, it might give us the potential for a county project. And finally, a pedestrian bridge across Falling Creek to Rockwood Park or across Gregory's Pond. This would really connect the park by foot or cyclists to the areas in the northeast, which are not currently connected and require driving about 3 miles around on Hall Street or Courthouse Road to access the park. I'll conclude this presentation with our next steps. This presentation, as well as the draft plan document, will be provided on the Planning Department's website today, January 8th. For those who are interested, you may submit comments through our online comment portal at the website above through February 1st of this year. The plan will next be heard by the Planning Commission and the Board of Supervisors in the winter of this year. We would love to hear from you, so please feel free to reach out to me at the phone number or email address provided below. Thank you very much for your interest in our planning efforts in the Rockwood community, and I hope you all have a safe and happy New Year. Thank you.